Somewhere in a locked room beneath the imperial mint, a Roman emperor is running his thumb over a freshly stamped coin and smiling at a lie only he knows. That coin will pass from hand to hand for a lifetime, buying bread, bribing soldiers, paying debts, and every single owner will trust it completely. None of them will ever guess that the silver gleaming on its surface is thinner than it looks, shaved away by order of the man whose face is stamped on it. This is the story of how an emperor's secret theft from his own currency set off a slow-motion collapse that would take down an empire. The year is 64 AD, and Rome is still smoldering. A fire has just devoured 2/3 of the city, and the Emperor Nero needs money, fast. He wants to rebuild grander than before. Wide avenues, marble palaces, a golden house so vast that visitors call it the Domus Aurea, the House of Gold. But golden houses cost real gold, and Nero's treasury is bleeding. Wars, bribes, festivals, and his own appetite for luxury have hollowed out the imperial coffers. Raising taxes outright would spark riots he can't afford. Rome already whispers that its emperor is unstable, cruel, obsessed with his own reflection in the mirror of power. So Nero turns to a quieter trick. Not a tax anyone will notice. Not a law anyone will read. Just a small, private order sent to the imperial mint. Melt down the silver. Stretch it further. Make the coins look exactly the same, but put less real metal inside each one. For decades, the denarius, Rome's everyday silver coin, has held roughly 98% pure silver, trusted across the empire from Britain to Syria. Nero's mint workers now cut that purity down to around 93% and shrink the coin's weight too, squeezing more coins from the same silver bars. Picture a goldsmith filing a sliver off every coin's edge before it's stamped, then handing it back so smooth no one can tell metal is missing. That's essentially what Nero has ordered his mint to do to millions of coins at once. Legally, secretly, at a scale no ordinary thief could dream of. It's called debasement, and it works like a magic trick. The coin still says 1 denarius. It still buys 1 denarius worth of bread. Nothing looks different. But somewhere between the mine and your money pouch, the emperor has quietly kept a slice of silver for himself. A hidden tax paid by everyone, seen by no one. Nero dies in disgrace 4 years later, but his trick doesn't die with him. He has taught every emperor after him a dangerous, seductive lesson. Why raise taxes and risk a mob at your gate, when you can shave your coins in private and let the whole empire absorb the loss quietly? Trajan does it. Marcus Aurelius does it, even while writing philosophy about virtue and restraint. Each reign nudges the silver content a little lower than the last. By the time Septimius Severus rules, around 200 AD, the denarius holds barely half the silver it once did, and he needs money for his soldiers. Then his son Caracalla invents something even more clever. A brand new coin, slightly larger, claimed to be worth 2 denarii, but holding only 1.5. It's called the antoninianus, and it's a debasement disguised as a promotion, a 25% theft wrapped in the shine of a brand new denomination. For a while, the trick still works. Soldiers get paid, granaries get stocked, and ordinary Romans in the marketplace notice nothing wrong with their coins. But debasement is a debt that always comes due. Once people sense a coin is worth less than it claims, they start demanding more for the same loaf of bread. By the middle of the 3rd century, Rome is drowning in crises. Plague sweeping the provinces, generals murdering their way to the throne, borders crumbling under pressure. Desperate emperors reach for the same old lever and pull it harder than ever. Silver content in the antoninianus collapses to just 5%, sometimes less. Mint workers now dip cheap bronze discs in a thin silver wash, so the coin gleams for a few months before the shine wears off to reveal dull gray metal. Picture a soldier biting into his pay and tasting bronze where silver should be. Word spreads through the legions faster than any imperial messenger could ride. Merchants start weighing coins on scales instead of trusting their stamp value. Some simply refuse them, demanding grain, wine, or gold instead of Rome's tarnished promises. Prices that stayed stable for 2 centuries suddenly begin to climb, then sprint. Records from Roman Egypt show wheat prices multiplying many times over in a single generation. Economists later call this a currency crisis, but the Romans living through it just call it terrifying. Savings evaporate. Pensions become worthless. Trust itself goes bankrupt. Soldiers, unpaid in any coin worth carrying, start looting the very provinces they're supposed to protect, or backing whichever general promises them real plunder instead. Between roughly 235 and 284 AD, the empire nearly comes apart at the seams. More than 20 men claim the throne, most murdered within months of taking it. Historians later name this half-century the crisis of the 3rd century, and at its rotten core sits a currency emperors had quietly hollowed out for generations. Trade slows because no one agrees what money is worth anymore. Some regions slide back toward barter, swapping grain for tools the way their ancestors once did. Tax collectors, unable to trust debased coin, start demanding payment in goods instead. Wheat, wine, cloth, because a sack of grain can't be secretly shaved. The empire that once bound 3 continents together with roads and law now struggles to convince its own people that its money is anything but a polite fiction. And through it all, the coins keep coming off the presses, still stamped with proud imperial faces, still promising a value the metal inside can't back up. Relief arrives, briefly, with the Emperor Diocletian around 301 AD. He tries to freeze the chaos with his famous edict on maximum prices, capping what merchants can charge. It fails almost immediately. You can't fix broken money with a law about prices. Merchants simply stop selling openly, and goods vanish into hidden black markets instead. The deeper fix comes from Constantine years later. He abandons silver almost entirely and mints a new gold coin, the solidus, kept deliberately, stubbornly pure. No schabbing, no secret dilution. A coin whose weight in gold you could actually trust, because Constantine understood what emperors before him had forgotten. Trust is the real currency. The solidus works. It circulates for centuries, outliving the Western Empire itself, still trusted in Byzantine hands long after the old silver denarius is just a memory. But the damage from those earlier, shaved coins never fully undoes itself. The Western Empire, worn down by decades of monetary rot, has fewer good years left than anyone expects. Historians still argue over exactly how much debasement caused Rome's fall, versus plague, invasion, or sheer bad luck. Probably was all of it tangled together. But the coins themselves tell a story no history book needs to embellish. Each shaved denarius is a tiny, physical record of an empire quietly lying to itself. Every emperor who ordered the mint to cut corners believed he was solving today's problem. None of them believed they were lighting the fuse on tomorrow's collapse. That's the strange, quiet danger of secretly weakening your own money. It buys you time you can see, while charging a price you can't. Somewhere in a museum drawer tonight, one of Nero's shaved coins still sits in the dark, its silver thinner than it ever let anyone believe. If stories like this, where money, greed, and empire collide, pull you in, stay close and subscribe, because history's next debt always comes due.